Rail Jam hits both, which means skiers and snowboarders are here in town.
And Marcus Burton and the rest of CU football's graduating seniors take their marks for scouts at NFL Pro Day.
Yep, and Corey Higgins and his Golden Shoes are up flying again. CU basketball and much more coming up on CU Sports Mag right now. Hi, and welcome to this week's edition of CU Sports Mag. I'm David Sarser, sitting alongside Rose Efi. Rose, a lot of sports in action this week. CU football had their pro day, skiing, golf, but we're going to start things off with some CU hoops.
Exactly, that's right, David. The Buffs played Texas Tech last Saturday, previewing their first round matchup in the Big 12 tournament. Let's see those highlights now. The crowd first honored seniors Trent Beckley and Dwight Thorne, but the Red Raiders get right to business, and Nick Okori starts it off by draining a three. But CU's not having it as Austin Default gets a swing back with a put-back layup, and Alec Burks adds to the scoreboard with a turnaround jumper in the paint. But John Roberson answers back for another Texas Tech three, and Okori attacks again with 2 of his game-high 34 points. Oh, but here comes the man of the hour, senior Thorne, who makes some noise with a three from the left side, and he comes back again with a killer three at the top of the key. And Thorne's mom is liking that as he gets some love from the stands at halftime.
Oh, look at that.
Isn't that cute?
Cheering on their young kid. Starting things off in the second half, CU continues to roll. Relford hits Burks for the strong finish. I think it's up and close and personal with our camera guy afterwards. After that, it's Corey Higgins. I believe I can fly. Posing for his basketball card photo, it looks like, and getting the crowd pumped up with the one-handed throwdown. Okri, though, he's going to try to keep Tech close. Or excuse me, here comes Marcus Relford off the inbounds pass from Nate Tomlinson. And here's Okri again with his dagger jump shot to try and keep Texas Tech in the game. His teammate Mike Singletary doing his part as well with the strong and one finish on the opposite end. Here's Relford with another nice dish, and Alec Burks finishes with a two-handed throwdown. Okri, another long three-man. This kid was on fire for the game, but in the end it was too much CU. Corey Higgins with a one-handed throwdown. Man, it must be those gold shoes after all. 30 points, his second 30-point game with those gold shoes on. CU finishes the season with 3 straight wins, getting the W, 101-90. Burks finishes with 24 points and 3 assists. And, of course, Higgins with those 30 points to lead CU.
And Singletary had 21 points for Texas Tech, and Okri had those 34 points with 2 assists.
It's a very good start. We were able to score, and we have to find a way to defend them better. It's tangible evidence that we're taking steps forward, and next year we need to finish higher than that. So you just need to work hard to continue to get better. And
Texas Tech was soundly defeated by the men's basketball team at home less than a week ago, but Wednesday that all changed. CU went into Kansas City to take on the Red Raiders, but struggled throughout the game, making only 37% of their shots and committing 19 turnovers. The Red Raiders came prepared to do battle and defeated the Buffs with an 82-67 victory at the Sprint Center in Kansas City. This loss officially ended the Colorado basketball season, as well as Colorado's dream of a Big 12 conference title.
The women's basketball team closed the regular season with a 59-41 loss to Iowa State. The Buffs suffered from the field, shooting just 27% and scoring a season low. Sophomore Alyssa Fresley was CU's leading scorer with only 10 points. Along with a dismal offense, Iowa State also took advantage of the Buffs' early foul trouble. 3 Cyclones hit double digits, with Kelsey Bolt leading the attack with 19 points. The Buffs hope for a better fate against the Baylor Bears.
But the Buffs' hopes were dashed in the first round of the Big 12 tournament. The Buffs started off strong and led the game by 8 points at halftime. But Baylor answered right back and held CU to only 26 points in the second half to win it 72-65. Baylor's Whitney Zachariasen scored 17 points for the Bears, while CU junior Brittany Spears led the Buffs with 22 points and Alyssa Fresley chipped in 16. This loss ends the season for the Buffs as they finish 13-17. The Bears move on in the tournament and will face third-seeded Oklahoma on Friday. Guard Bianca Smith became the first CU women's basketball player to win an individual conference honor since we were competing back in the Big 8. She picked up the 6th Man of the Year award in a league-wide vote of Big 12 coaches on Monday. Brittany Spears also received an honorable mention vote to the All-Big 12 team. Smith came off the bench in 24 of 29 games this season and averaged 13.2 points per game while leading the Big 12 with 81 three-pointers. The last time the Lady Buffs were honored individually was in 1995, when Shelly Sheets won the Big 8 Player of the Year.
According to men's basketball coach Jeff Bzdelik, the key to rebuilding is rebounding. After the Buffs' opening round blowout loss in the Big 12 tournament, Bzdelik bluntly said he needed to recruit a forceful post presence for CU to be able to make the NCAA tournament. Even though CU ended the regular season with a three-game winning streak, they were out-rebounded 115-71 in those games. Recruiting a center would give CU a better chance to compete with top-tier teams in the Big 12.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, our own Andrew Tomasini went over to the practice bubble to catch CU seniors over at the NFL Pro Day.
And we'll return, we'll have the Athlete of the Week.
Stay tuned.
This house was almost saved from a fire that was almost put out by neighbors who almost volunteered. As generous a nation as we are, sometimes instead of giving, we almost give. But almost giving is the same as not giving at all.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a
One
dad
more
today.
time. Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
Women's soccer began its spring season in California last weekend with games against St. Mary's and Cal Berkeley. The Buffs couldn't pull out a single goal in the first two matches without graduated standout Nikki Marshall. The games, which resulted in a scoreless tie against St. Mary's and a 2-0 loss against Cal Berkeley, gave the Buffs a chance to try out some new formations on the field and test new positions for some players. Head coach Bill Hempen is impressed with his team's potential for the upcoming season. He hopes to see a lot of scoring in the future from sophomore Erin Bricker and junior Carolyn Danberg.
After not being recruited by the majority of Big 12 coaches, Colorado's Alec Burks sure made a good impression. The guard from Grandview, Missouri was voted Big 12 Freshman of the Year by Big 12 coaches on Sunday. Burks led all freshmen in the conference in scoring, averaging 16.8 points a game, and he was also first in the Big 12 in field goal percentage. He also scored in double figures in all but one game this season and was CU's lone bright spot in their loss to Texas Tech at the Big 12 tourney, posting 24 points and 10 rebounds in the losing effort. For his performance, Alec Burks is CU SportsMag's Athlete of the Week.
Springtime is here, and that means the football team is preparing for next season already with spring drills. 91 players attended the first day of practice, and the team will also return 16 starters from last year's squad. CU also held a pro day on Wednesday with 11 former players positioning themselves for April's NFL draft. One standout was safety Ben Burney, who ran a 4.83 40. That time would have been the fastest time at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis 2 weeks ago.
Speaking of Pro Day, SportsMag's own Andrew Tomasini headed down to Del Ward and the practice bubble to get a first-hand look at what CU seniors had to offer.
Folsom Field, quiet as usual come early March. But on the CU campus Wednesday, the University of Colorado football team held its 2010 Pro Timing Day, looking to impress NFL scouts in a combine-like atmosphere. Former Buffalo captain and inside linebacker Marcus Burton did his best to impress scouts during his pro timing day.
I think I did pretty good. It was a solid workout. Obviously, as a competitor, you always think you can do better, but I think I feel pretty good about it.
Scouts from around the league tested players' broad jump, vertical leap, and 3 cone drills, testing speed and agility of former Buffalo participants. Some scouts even get to know potential employees on a more personal level. So what do they discuss?
General question would be his family background. Are there any issues there? Does he have any issues dealing with suspensions, the law that we need to know about, because we're going to find out about it, so you have a chance right now to be upfront and honest with us. The importance for pro days like at Colorado, some of the guys here went at the combine, so it's your chance to see them perform and then compare them to the guys that were at the combine.
Tight end Ryer Greer was the only member of the Buffalo's roster from last season to receive an invite to the NFL Combine in Indianapolis. The Grand Junction native did not participate in CU's Pro Day, as he decided to stick with his scores from Indy. So with Greer on the sideline, all but assured to hear his name called April 25th in New York City, one member of the Buffalo's roster looked to take full advantage of the spotlight. Safety Ben Bruni ran a 4.38 40, a score that easily would have been tops at the NFL Combine.
All the drama or the nerves with coaches out here and everything, what you do is you just say, hey, I know what I am, I know what I can do, so let me go out here and do it. And like I told a couple other guys, I felt like today was my birthday, and I was able to open up all my gifts in front of everybody. And so when you come out with that kind of mindset and listen to happy old school music like The Temptations and Lionel Richie, I mean, you're going to feel good about yourself and you're going to do good.
For CU Sports Mag, Andrew Tomasini.
Thanks, Andrew. Next up, we'll be going to the Double Team desk for a Big 12 tournament breakdown.
Yep, and our own Matt Hallen sat down with the man behind the scenes who's running all of the scenes of CU men's basketball. Stay tuned.
Let's sit down for a second, okay? So hey, Kayla, there's Mary from your class.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Kayla. Come and play.
Oh, sweetie. Why don't you go play with those kids over there?
Why?
Imagine the power of one voice. Find yours at freedomcenter.org.
You ever think about buying a bigger place? Just waiting for a visit from the credit fairy. There is no credit fairy. How else will I get a better credit score? Look, you keep your credit card balances low and only open a new card if you really need it. No fairy?
There's no magic to improving your credit, but there's help, and it's free. Go to creditfairy.org.
The 57th annual NCAA skiing championships are at the midway point, and senior Matt Gelso has already captured an NCAA individual classic title. Defending champion University of Denver leads overall with 420 points, 69 points ahead of Colorado with 351 points. All eyes will now shift to alpine action and slalom events. For only the second time at the NCAA championships, the runs will be held at night, following a successful debut last year in Steamboat Springs. The first men's run will start at 6:30 p.m., with the women following at 7:30.
And with the NCAA skiing championships in Steamboat this weekend, and Colorado being home to some of the most renowned ski resorts in the world, this week's trivia question asks, what momentous event, in history catapulted Colorado to being a skiing mecca? We'll have the answer for you guys later on in the show.
All right, and we'll be going to the Double Team desk, and we're going to check out and see what Audie Streetman and Josh Rising have to say for the Big 12 tournament.
Take it away, guys. Hi, and welcome to Double Team. I'm David Starr. So sitting alongside Andrew Gillis. Andrew, we're here to talk a little CU hoops action. The Buffs playing back. Sorry about that. We're having some technical difficulties right now, so we'll come back to Double Team later on in the show. But for now, we're just going to keep going on with the show. From one green to another, the CU men's golf team ended up sputtering to a 13th place finish at the 25th annual Louisiana Classics in Lafayette on Tuesday. The Buffs entered the final round in 7th place, but it posted a 21 over par 309, tying with Houston for the highest third round score. Senior Justin Bargett had the best showing on the team, shooting a 4 over 220 and tying for 21st individually after a final round 77. Sophomore Sebastian Heisel turned in CU's best score of the third round with a 3 over 75 to finish tied for 35th. The Buffs will take a week off, for hitting the links from March 22nd to the 23rd at the Oregon Duncan Invitational in Eugene.
The fans see the baskets, but behind every game, there's a story. CU Sports Mag Matt Hanlon met with the man behind the scenes, Basketball Sports Information Director Andrew Green, for an inside look at the busiest man in CU sports.
The man that makes the machine run, Andrew Green. The Colorado men's basketball assistant sports information director is the busiest man come game day. Setting the media up with the weekly sports recaps, assisting the student athletes with pregame and postgame interviews, ensuring that all media credentials are set aside, and helping nationally televised stations receive the statistics they need.
Just put them on rank 6. Hold. Okay. Yep.
Before, during, and after games, Andrew is always on the go. Green gives some insight into the chaos that is game day.
I think it's the after the game. We're running around putting out fires and making sure coach is where he needs to be, making sure the student athletes that are requested are upstairs, and you're taking care of the other school too.
Although he's got the best seats in the house, he can't truly enjoy the game.
I'm not a fan anymore because you're not allowed to cheer on press row. Like the Kansas game earlier in the season.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a minute left in the game and the score is tied, and it's like, oh my God, is this really happening? And you think of all the possible busyness, the good busy that you have to do after the game because you're not supposed to win. You're upsetting you have a chance to upset the #1 team in the country.
Even though Andrew's work is never truly done, there's one thing that keeps him coming back.
I mean, it's sports. What isn't there not to like about it?
Matt Hanlon, CU Sports Mag.
Sorry for the technical difficulties, but now we'll be heading over to Double Team.
All right, take it away, Josh and Audie.
Welcome to Double Team, everyone. I'm Audie Streetman, sitting alongside Josh Rising, and today we're talking about the Big 12 Championship Tournament. The first big game we have to talk about is the number 8 Colorado up against number 9 Texas Tech. This was pretty much the best matchup for the beginning 4 games, I think. Obviously, when you have a number 8 seed against a number 9 seed, it's just sort of the thing you'd expect to happen.
Yeah, and absolutely. And, in recent years, CU struggled to get a good seeding in the conference tournament. But, this year, Colorado finally became competitive in the Big 12, and they got the 8th seed in the conference tournament. With that, Colorado got a rematch with Texas Tech in which they played Texas Tech in the regular season finale, and they beat them here in Boulder 101-90. With that confidence, Colorado's got to feel like they got a good chance of beating Texas Tech in this first round game, but that didn't necessarily translate to a win for Colorado as they lost to Texas Tech 82-67. A couple problems that Colorado had in this game was the fact that they just were out-rebounded by Texas Tech 36-26. And when that happens, it just gives Texas Tech more opportunities to get those second chance points, and that really didn't help out Colorado in this game. Another problem they had was that they just didn't shoot the three-point ball very well, as they shot only 35% behind the arc. And they didn't get a lot of contributions from other players on this in this game, as they didn't get points from Casey Crawford, Keegan Hornbuckle, and Austin Dufault. None of them registered a point in this game. With this loss, that really takes the question of Colorado making it even into the NIT.
Yeah, I think of all the teams that have played so far, the most intriguing of the conference tournament has been number 12 Nebraska, especially when they took on number 5 Missouri and shocked everyone with a 75-60 win. Nebraska started out the game strong with a 16-1 run. Mm-hmm. I think that was the strongest factor that contributed to their win. Overall, Nebraska shot better than Missouri. They out-rebounded Missouri, and they also had more assists.
In the end, they just out-hustled Missouri.
I agree, and I think it's also important to note that with Nebraska's win, this is the second time in conference history where a 12-seed team has beaten a 5-seed team. Ironically, the last time that this happened was when Colorado beat Baylor in double overtime in 2008. Overall, it was a disappointing loss for Missouri, especially when last year they beat Baylor, who was a on a winning streak,
Yeah.
and they made it all the way to the Elite Eight in the NCAA tournament, which was great. But this year, not as great as before.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, I'd have to say that the most disappointing team so far in the tournament has been Texas.
Absolutely. Texas started the season off, on a 17-0 winning record, but the last 15 games of the season, they did not do very well as they had a losing record. Coming into this conference tournament, they had a chance to play one of arguably the worst teams in the conference in Iowa State, and they didn't even have a great showing against them as they only won 82-75. This game was a lot closer than even what the box score says, and even Texas didn't even win this game really, as Damon James actually won this game for Texas, and he had a team high in points with 28 and a team high in rebounds with 16. Just in a game like this, it's just surprising that Texas didn't do a very good job of trying to take command of this game. They didn't build a comfortable lead until late in the second half, when they had a 11-0 run in which the Iowa State was chipping at that lead even late in that game as well too. In a game which Texas has the better players and the better coaching, it's surprising they didn't do better against Iowa State. And with this kind of win or loss, actually, it just doesn't look like they're going to do very well trying to getting a good seeding in the NCAA tournament.
I agree. I mean, overall, I think my pick to win the NCAA tournament would be Kansas, especially because of the plays of Xavier Henry. So that's just my decision. That's all the time we have for today. We'll take it back to the desk.
Thanks, guys. When we come back, we'll have the weather by Kylie Bursta telling us what's going to happen this weekend up in Boulder.
And I hope you're thinking about that trivia question. We'll have the answer right after the break.
Big dreams and good grades aren't enough to get into college. There are actual steps you need to take. Finding someone who can help is the first and most important. For the next steps, go to knowhowtogo.org.
Great things. Find out how a healthy lifestyle can help your child succeed.
The awards are sprinting in for former CU track elite Jenny Behringer, who was named Sportswoman of the Year for 2009. One of the most decorated athletes to ever wear black and gold, Behringer was a 7-time All-American, 13-time All-Big 12 performer, and proud Olympian in the 2008 Summer Games. Last year, she set six NCAA records, 7 CU records, and nabbed the prestigious Bowerman Award. But despite her accolades and experience, her career is just beginning. The Florida native is about to enter her professional running years and is excited to continue training in Colorado.
20 tons of snow, 3 intimidating rails, and over 50 of the best skiers and snowboarders Boulder has to offer can only mean one thing. The Campus Rail Jam has made its return trip back to Boulder, Colorado. The event last Thursday, where a massive crowd assembled on University Hill. Boulder Freeride and Cricket Wireless hosted this jam-packed session, which consisted of 3 bigger, faster, and more technical rails than in years past. The competition was a complete success and will almost certainly leave CU students and Boulder's community wanting more.
And now for the trivia answer you've all been waiting for. But first, to refresh your memory, the question was, what momentous event in history catapulted Colorado to a skiing mecca? And the answer is the Big Snow of 1913. The snowstorm goes down in the record books as the worst snowstorm in Colorado history, with over 46 inches in Denver and over 90 inches in some of the Front Range. The 5-day blizzard had skiers gliding through the streets and even down Capitol Hill. This event is marked as the moment Denver gained curiosity for the sport, ultimately leading to Colorado being known as the prime skiing destination.
There is a new man at the helm of the CU Men's Club lacrosse program, and he's bringing his own style of coaching and how he dresses. News Team Boulder's Ron Knabenbauer has more.
He may not dress like your typical athletic coach, but CU men's lacrosse head coach Pete Stevenson is all business on and off the field. His on-field attire is from his belief of looking professional on game day.
I always kind of believe that that coaching's a classy thing. I miss the times when men would show up to games in their shirts and ties, and it was something that they dressed up for.
That business-like attitude also includes how he prepares for a game.
I sleep about 4 hours a night, and I wake up with fits trying to figure out how to solve some problem, and I go to bed watching film. Lacrosse is what I do, absolutely.
After coaching high school lacrosse in Utah the past few years, the first-year college head coach will now lead a team that finished 4th in the country last season. Coach Stevenson decided to leave his family and friends back in Utah, a place where he lived his entire life, to come across the Rockies to one of the best club lacrosse programs in the nation, right here at CU.
I miss my family. My girlfriend lives in Utah, and my family's out there, and I obviously miss them. But this is a dream job for me. It's something I've always wanted to do, and I'm so happy to be a part of such a great program like CU.
Another difficulty that he faces is winning over his players.
You've got to come into a new system with new players and new seniors who don't know you, who don't know what you're about, and you have to convince them that what you are running as a team is going to be effective.
Part of what he is running includes not stressing his players out.
It's a little bit more relaxed, a little different than what we've been used to my first 3 years here.
However, the atmosphere is far from relaxed on game day. With his team already up 9-2 on the number 3 team in the nation, Stevenson pushed his players further during halftime.
They've got nothing if you keep playing the way you're playing. They've got nothing on you. You guys are too great. You're so good, and you're proving it today. Don't stop. Don't stop.
And his players didn't stop as they scored 7 third-quarter goals en route to the 17-7 victory. Stevenson's professional attitude, he hopes, will lead to CU's first conference and national championship. Ron Knobbenbauer, News Team Boulder.
Thanks, Ron. Well, it's time to find out how the weather is going to be up here in Boulder and on the ski slopes this weekend.
All right, take it away, Kylie Burse.
Thanks, guys. Now, we've had a pretty crazy week of weather this week with snow one day and then sunny weather the next. So let's jump right in and see what this week has in store. As you can see here, we have a high pressure system over Colorado, which is good news. That means there's sun in the forecast. However, if you take a look over here, coming from the west is a cold front that's going to move into Colorado, maybe around Sunday, Monday time. But I'm not too worried. Our temperatures are actually going to be looking great for this weekend. Now, it doesn't look like it here. As you can see, we're in the blues and purples area, but that means that we're kind of warming up. We're getting into that spring weather. It is Boulder, Colorado. After all, we can't expect to always have that beautiful weather. But this weekend, it looks like we're going to see some of it. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're almost hitting into the 50s there. And Sunday, the only thing that I'm a little worried about is some rain coming, some rain showers, but only about 20% chance. And with those temperatures dipping down into the 20s for our lows, that might mean a little bit of snow as well. So be prepared for that on Monday. Other than that, I'm not too worried. I think you're going to have a beautiful weekend here in Boulder. Now, if you're planning on heading over to the slopes, if you're going over to Copper, now they've got a pretty good base snowfall inch of about 12 inches with about a base depth of 61 inches. So they've got some great powder there if you want to head out there. They're on the lower side as far as temperatures for most of our ski resorts, but all of our resorts are going to have sun this weekend. Our next resort that we're going to take a look at is Vail. Now they're the least for the powder looking. They've had only about 2 inches recently and only around 50 inches of base depth, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be great to head up there this weekend. Breckenridge is going to be my recommendation for you all, though. They have 14 inches of recent snowfall and then a base depth of over 70 inches. That is going to be the best for all you snow lovers out there, and their highs are even going to reach into the 40s. Now, like as you can see here, you can see that sun. It may dip down into 16 degrees for that temperature low. Now, if you're planning on heading to Aspen, beware, there was that rock fall on I-70. As you can see here, it's not looking so good. That rock fell down and closed down traffic both ways for this past week. They finally opened it up, but it's only one lane each way. So they brought the speed limit down to about 40 miles an hour. So I would recommend sticking closer to home this weekend.
Sounds good. I don't know if you guys can hit the ski slopes this weekend.
I don't know. That rock slide sounds pretty scary to me. Yeah. I'm not a very good driver, so.
I would switch up with the mountains, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. I'd recommend sticking in Boulder this weekend. It's looking beautiful. Maybe on Sunday we got a little bit of rain, but that's about it.
I guess Colorado weather, it's always goofy. You never know what's going to happen, but as long as it's in the 50s, I'm going to go outside. So.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for this week. For Kylie Burse and Rose Heath, I'm David Starr, so you guys have a good weekend.